We have some major AEW contract updates as we now have more information on the potential expiration dates of the contract of Malakai Black, something that wrestling fans have been speculating, wondering about for a little while now. PW Insider has the news. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to take a listen to comments that Tony Khan made on the Rich Eisen podcast about potentially working with WWE in the near future. You're not going to want to miss this. We're going to talk about that as well. All that much more coming up in this video. So be sure, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, first let's go to PW Insider with an update on the contract status of Malakai Black's partner, Buddy Matthews. So Buddy Matthews, as reported by PW Insider, quote, Buddy Matthews has signed a new deal with AEW this past February. His contract status has been one that many people have been speculating about. Would he go back to WWE? Would he go back to be with his partner, Rhea Ripley? Well, it doesn't look like anytime soon. Of course, we don't know the length of this contract. Could be a year, could be 2 years, could be however long, but the fact that he re-signed this past February does indicate that he is going to be with AEW for a while. And before we talk about the Malakai Black news, which we are going to get into in just a second, there's been, this perception online that everyone in the House of Black wants to go to WWE. They want to jump ship. They want to go over there. And there have been reports and rumors speculating for months now, even before this news came out from PW Insider, that one of those people, Buddy Matthews, has signed a new deal with AEW. And I just think it's one of those things where any report, regardless from the source, right? There are some sources that I believe are way more reputable than others, but anytime you get information from any source, always take it with a grain of salt, especially when it comes to professional wrestling news. And I think, there's always an incentive to be hyperbolic, to talk about things, in ways that, are just, I'm not going to say dishonest, because look, at the end of the day, it is professional wrestling. If you're going to talk about it on a podcast, you're just going to talk the talk and talk smack and talk with the boys, chop it up. That's fine. But, when you are saying that you are, reporting this is fact 100%, you have to kind of, in my view, handle it with care. Something I like to do when I'm talking about these stories, I never report any news, but I do talk about people and their reports and kind of add that commentary that I think is very important. So anyway, always double check. Also, as we get into the Malakai Black thing, he's also someone who people have been saying for a while, what's his status? Is he going to be with AEW? Is he not? Well, we have an update on Malakai Black as well. Again, PW Insider today reported Malakai Black is currently signed to an AEW deal that takes him into 2025. There's been numerous claims over the last year or so that Black was exiting the company, but it's never been correct. And that is, we've heard these kinds of speculation, this kind of rumor going back all the way to 2022. I was actually at that show, All Out 2022. People really read into the fact that after the match, Malakai Black seemed a little bit more emotional than he ever was, and he took a bow before the entire audience in the Now Arena in Chicago, and that kind of started a spiraling of reporting and things like that Malakai Black was released, and then he came out and did a weird interview or not an interview, but it was a weird Instagram live or something where he reportedly debunked that, and it got weird. And ever since then, there've been rumblings that he's unhappy or whatever, he doesn't want to go. Again, all rumor, speculation, innuendo, as Conrad Thompson would say. But it's one of those things that has always been talked about, and again, it's not one of those things we've had concrete answers about either. The only or the biggest indicator that he was going to remain with AEW before this report was Tony Khan and Tony Khan's own words that he said when in 2021, I believe, 2021, 2022, that Malakai Black was was still going to be with the company for 5 years. So that would take his contract theoretically into 2026 at least. And like, again, that's been talked about. That's been like, anyway, it's been a weird situation. I think we can all agree. Fightful did come out with a report, FightfulSelect.com, for the full report. I believe in there, like, it was also like noted, like, you have to also factor in, like, there could be option years, there could be injury time added off, time away added off. And Malakai Black has been away. He's been away for personal issues. He's been away for other reasons as well. So you never know. We will see. I think, my view is, I think Tony Khan understands the talent that Malakai Black is. I don't think he's always booked him in the way that he probably should, or he definitely should. But I think he understands the talent that he has. I think he understands that at his best, Malakai Black is a main eventer. He is someone who I think you can trust in holding the AEW World Championship. It is just a matter of getting him there. I don't think the storylines have been there throughout his time in AEW. And look, if that is the priority for Malakai, you could understand some of the rumors about him potentially wanting out. Like that's just keeping it like 100. We'll see. I just say keeping it 100. Shout out to Conan, but not anyone else on that show. Anyway, let's get into the next story. We'll obviously keep you all updated on the entire Malakai Black situation, but let me know in the comments what you think about all of this as we move on and stick with AEW, but move on to some other news in the world of All Elite Wrestling. As you guys can tell, I am not in my normal setting, so taking me a little bit to pull all this stuff up. Be sure to hit that like button, by the way. I'm actually in town for Blood and Guts, and yeah, I can't wait. And if you've watched our Blood and Guts already, it was amazing. And if you watched Blood and Guts already, it was crap. Let's talk about Tony Khan, though. He was asked today on the Rich Eisen show about potentially working with WWE down the line. Here is what he had to say on that show.
As a wrestling fan, I can't let you go without. I have to ask you this question. Fans want to see the two biggest companies at some point maybe do something together. Do you ever foresee any way in the next, I'm not saying next year or anything, but do you ever see a situation where we could get these two big companies together and put together some type of super show, which, let's just be honest, all fans would really, truly love to see?
I would love if that were possible. I don't know that it is, but it would be great if it was possible for the fans. I think that would be wonderful, but there are a lot of challenging business things in the world of pro wrestling that I think would make that a very challenging thing to do.
And that was Tony Khan again, courtesy of the Rich Eisen show, talking about WWE potentially working with them and putting on a WWE AEW Super Show. Let's kind of peel back the curtain, look back at some of the events that have happened over the past few years. It's been a wild ride, to say the least, between WWE and AEW. You had, early on, obviously WWE were not fond of AEW. Vince McMahon particularly was really behind, or the one really behind the rallying cry to put NXT right there head to head on TV with AEW. He was right there, saying, calling them out for their blood and gore or something like that. After the Kenny Omega and I believe it was the Kenny Omega John Moxley match at Full Gear 2019. So there's been bad blood. There's also been some more serious situations. There was alleged contract tampering that was reported that Tony Khan was very angry about. If you go back and watch one of the very most missed things from that 2022 All Out press conference, everyone was focused on Punk. There was also the story of Tony Khan basically confirming a report that there was contract tampering from WWE, and then obviously it was reported that Tony had sent a letter to Nick Khan, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon, a legal letter, kind of obviously telling them to refrain from that in the future. Otherwise, there's going to be some legal action potentially taken. You never say never, right? In professional wrestling, you never say never. this would be a big never. This would be a. There is a lot of things would have to happen. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but if you are WWE, I don't think from a business standpoint, like let's be honest, for WWE, they are all about business. And when they look at things, for them, it's like one of those things of what do we have to gain from this? Because they're not in the business of making, great wrestling moments for the sake of professional wrestling. They're in the business, and TKO specifically, and Mark Shapiro, someone on those quarterly calls, is all about the money when it comes to his priorities for WWE. And for them, it's like, what, we're going to sell at a stadium? We could do that anyway with almost any show we put on right now at this point. What's to get? What? Ticket prices are going to be high? We're raising them every single pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you want to call it, every single month. For AEW, there's obviously a lot to gain. Exposure with a wider audience and kind of showing off your talent to a WWE audience that just, quite frankly, a lot of them do not watch AEW. They may know it exists, but they don't watch. So, like, really, for WWE, it's like, okay, we're helping our competition, and on top of that, we're doing business that we probably could have done anyway and splitting the cost. As much as I personally want to see it, I think it should happen for the sake of professional wrestling. I do not think that the egos, that the business side of things are going to allow it to happen anytime soon. Unless AEW somehow, some way, in like a couple of years becomes on the same level financially as WWE, which I cannot see. I can't fathom that. Unless that happens, I don't see a world where this happens. But again, as we've learned in the world of professional wrestling, never say never. And I'm never going to say never to talking about wrestling with you guys every single day. I'm right here, youtube.com/Real Take Wrestling. Let me know in the comments section what you think about this. Is Tony Khan right? He's keeping the door open, it seems. Triple H has not really ever commented on this. Maybe someone should ask him at a media scrum. If you're watching this and you're a member of the media, ask him at a media scrum. But guys, let me know in the chat though, or in the comments. We're not live. Let me know in the comments section what you guys would want to see. What's a dream match between WWE superstar and AEW star that you would want to see? Let me know in the comments. Also, be sure, if you haven't already done so, to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.